Hi, Hector. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm really grateful that the sun is shining today. That makes coping with all of this that much more bearable.
Absolutely. Maybe go for a nice walk later on. I think I'm going to do that after work. But just kind of be safe and take it easy.
So let's talk about what you're doing to kind of stay sane, stay fit, stay healthy. We're going to drop as early in this conversation as possible the fact that you are world famous as a boxer. What's your
Yeah.
record?
So I was 87 wins, 12 losses, and I was a seven-time national champion in six different weight classes, and traveled all over the world with the United States national boxing team. In 1992, I was favored to go to the Olympics as a welterweight, 147, but I lost to a guy named Jesse Brasino, whom I knocked out in the first round for the U.S. Championship that following year. So had the Olympics been that following year, I would have went and made it. But everything happens for a reason. I was 19 years old at the time, and I was crushed. My dreams were to make the Olympics, to win a gold medal, and have a lucrative career in boxing. But when I lost in the Olympic trials, those big time promoters that were having conversations with me prior to losing were no longer around. And so I began searching, and I was hurting, and I ended up finding God. On December 27, 1992, I bought my first Bible, and I gave my life to Christ, and my life has changed and never been the same since. 6 months later, I did fight the same guy. This time I knock him out for the first round, in the first round for the U.S. Championship. That fight was on cable television. I came out on front cover of USA Boxing magazine, inside cover of Sports Illustrated. But I put it through a year of prayer and discernment, and I ended up feeling a strong calling away from the sport. It was the hardest decision I ever made in my life because something that I worked so hard for was at the tip of my finger, but I made the right decision. And that same dedication, determination, and discipline, it took me to be a champion boxer. It's the same dedication, determination, and discipline. I really try to strive for excellence in everything that I do, whether it be as a husband, as a father, as a friend, or a professional in my career. I learned that dedication, determination, and discipline from boxing.
So you make such an easy segue. I mean, how did that work actually translate into you going into social services? What was the path?
Well, if you starting with my upbringing, I'm actually writing a book. The book, My Journey from Boxing Ring to Boardroom, and it'll be coming out hopefully in August. I'll be submitting a formal manuscript to the publisher within the next month. But I start off with my upbringing. Both of my parents are from Puerto Rico, but my mother and father got a divorce when I was 12 years old, and my father ended up moving back to Puerto Rico. I was bullied as a young kid. My sister was addicted to drugs and had co-occurring mental illness. Drugs and gangs permeated my surroundings. Best friends, cousins were dying. All of those efforts, all of those issues led to an ACE score for me of 6. So I've had to overcome lots of challenges all my life. And so I think that positioned me well to be in my current role where, challenges is not anything that one can't overcome. And so, but also being bullied as a young child led me into the boxing ring. And boxing ring taught me dedication, determination, and discipline. But boxing also taught me 5 virtues that are really key to the virtues that have really guided and led me in my life. And they are magnanimity, which is really about striving for excellence, striving for greatness. And when you're a boxer, you are always striving to be the best. You never want to be number 2. You won the championship title one year, you got to win it the next year. So it's always this striving for greatness. There's also courage. There's no greater fear of one entering into that ring, but you enter that ring with courage because you are prepared, but you still have that fear. So you're willing to take on that risk because you know something great could come out of it. And then humility. Humility in the context of service. I learned humility in boxing because you don't win every fight. And I also learned from my coach, Israel Acosta, who served me. I would play baseball and come home kind of late, and then I go to the gym sometimes at 7 o'clock at night, and he was there spending time with me. Sometimes he was sacrificing his vacations, spending weekends with me. And I actually lived with him for 1 year when I was around 16 years old because he was worried about some of my friends. So I learned humility and service, servant leadership through boxing. Perseverance is another virtue, and that's about not giving up. If I would have gave up, I lost my first fight. I wanted to give up, but my coach kept saying, don't give up. I lost my second fight, wanted to give up. Third time's a charm, and I ended up becoming a 7-time national champion. So perseverance is another key virtue that really guided my life, of not giving up, even when it's hard. Something great can happen when you lose in life. And in fact, it makes you even better. And the last virtue is temperance. Temperance is about self-control. And when you're in the boxing ring, you got to have self-control. You get hit, it's not a fighting. You're not fighting. It's a boxing match. It's a chess match. So you have to think about your strategy and how you're going to react, and be very careful and cautious. And so all of those virtues have really translated into my life, striving for greatness, fighting to do the right thing, serving others, and servant leadership. Don't give up, and have self-control throughout your interactions with people and with decisions.
So Hector, a lot of what you just said makes sense of how you might respond in this extraordinary moment. It also makes sense of how you might best advocate for the community that you serve, those that might be homeless, or those that might be without resources. They are, in the foster care system. They might be suffering from addiction. So I guess my first question is, in this moment, how are you using those principles as a leader for an organization that is designed to serve a community which might not have access to a lot of the virtues you just mentioned?
And so I'll put the virtues in context of our situation here. And starting with magnanimity, this is a great organization with the ability and capability of being great. It has been around for over 137 years and has served this community well for all during that time. Last year we served 39,000 individuals in Wisconsin and Upper Michigan, 91% of which indicated that we improved their quality of life. Places like LSS need to be around to serve that child in crisis who has nowhere to turn, that family in turmoil that might be facing eviction, that elderly person or that person with this disability that needs just a little bit of help to live independently and successfully in their home, that person struggling with addiction or co-occurring mental illness, or that refugee that's fleeing from war and persecution. LSS needs to be around to serve these individuals and more. And so we start off with magnanimity. It's about this organization can be great, has been great for over a century. And also about humility. This is a servant-led organization. So we are always trying to put the interests of our staff first, the people we serve, as well as making sure that this organization is going to be viable, not only this year and next year, but for the many years to come. And having courage to make tough decisions, even when it's hard, but it's the right thing to do. And persevering, even in the midst of these challenging times. And so those are some of the virtues. So what we have done here at LSS, the coronavirus has hit us just like other sectors and other organizations, other individuals that are part of the GMC. For us, it resulted in about $1 million of loss of revenue on a monthly basis. And so what we did is we acted with courage. We looked at our data, made data-driven decisions to position ourselves for success. For example, we had to temporarily lay off 60 individuals. We also are holding off on hiring 60 additional individuals that were budgeted for in this last budget. I voluntarily took a pay cut, and my chief executive officers followed suit. We reduced our administrative overhead by 20%. So we made all of those changes that allowed us to get that $1 million loss of revenue down to a position where that was about a $400,000 loss from a net gain perspective, down to about potentially a break even or $100,000 to a $200,000 monthly loss. And so we're hoping to cover up the gap with some additional fundraising, but also potentially making more changes in the next month or two. I have a great team that's working very hard to position us for success. Again, with the primary focus, we need to position ourselves for success for the health and safety of our staff, which is first and foremost, the over 39,000 individuals that we serve on an annual basis, and to make sure that this organization is around for the next century.
That is really powerful to hear. I wonder what you are hearing from the community that you serve that might be different from what we are hearing at the GMC and the GMC members are hearing. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Sure. People are struggling. Anxiety is increasing. Behavioral health symptoms are increasing. Addiction is increasing. Homelessness is increasing. Hopelessness. People are losing their sense of hope. So there's a lot of anxiety and stress that many of the individuals we serve face, but our staff too. There's lots of uncertainty. And again, this is not just our organization. This is all other organizations, all sectors. Everybody's feeling stress, anxiety, uncertainty right now. So I'll share with you our experience, but some of our staff are on the front lines of serving others. And so they're putting their lives at risk. We call them heroes because they are there to continue to serve other individuals in this situation, which truly does make them heroes. So we're very appreciative. We try to provide them with, protective measures and equipment so that they can be safe. Lots of education regarding the CDC guidelines and best practices. But let's be honest, people are putting, themselves in situations that could not be as safe as they could be before this virus hit us all.
Yeah, that's I am only reminded listening to you of, there's the cliche that we're really able to show who we are in moments of crisis, or as Mike Tyson famously reinterpreted, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. In this moment, there's no one who could provide a better perspective on this than you. How, and I'm curious about you personally, in this moment of crisis, you as a leader, I hear what you're saying about those values, but how are you personally just coping?
Yeah. Well, one, God is my source of strength. I try to wake up every morning in meditation and prayer and spiritual reading and scripture. And that really helps start my day right. Also, a lot of gratitude. I give lots of thanks for all the wonderful things that I have in my life, and also the challenges, because those challenges make me better, make me stronger, and help me appreciate things better. And so I give thanks for those as well. I do start off with working out as well. Before the coronavirus, so I work out, a half hour, 45 minutes, a little bit of weights, a little bit of jump rope, just something to, get my day started right. I think that's important to start the day right. Before the coronavirus, I do attend daily mass. And again, that's a way of really starting the day right and getting really focused for the day, which always presents lots of challenges. So I do that. I have a great family, great wife, great kids. And so now we've been spending, I would say, more quality time together, making sure we have dinner every day together, playing games, laughing, just trying to spend more quality time together. So I think that's one of the good things that has come out of this, is that families are trying to do more of that. And stay connected. But I rely on my family. I rely on God. I rely on, my mother and friends. And it's important to stay connected with those individuals, even though we can't be physically close. We can do these Skype meetings. We can call. Those kind of things are important.
Have you found yourself doing more phone calls, more Zooms, or sending more email than? What's your new communication strategy?
I think a communication of all three. Obviously, these Zoom meetings are better. FaceTime, is good. To really see the other individual, I think is helpful. It's better than just the calls, but I'd say I've done a combination of all three. Mm-hmm. But more Zoom now and FaceTime now than ever. Which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So you've been in your role a year and some change.
A little over 2.5 years.
A little 2.5 years.
So time has really flown by, but love this organization. It's a great organization. I feel so blessed to be part of this organization, and it was a great move for me and the organization to allow me.
Do you still feel like the new person?
Not so much. I think in 2.5 years, we've made so many changes here for the better. So I'll tell you a little bit about some of the challenges, and these are not uncommon for the social services sector, nonprofit sector. But when I came in here, we only met 2 budgets in 10 years. And during that period of time, we lost almost $10 million. And so I came in right before I got here. We lost $2 million, and so my first budget, we budgeted at a $500,000 loss, which is a big turnaround from $2 million loss. We ended up coming in 67,000 positive, and my second budget, we budgeted at a break even, and then ended up coming in 2.4 million positive to budget. We made lots of changes in order to achieve those great results. I started off with 5 questions. I said, what are the biggest challenges the organization is facing? Why are we facing those challenges? What are some of our biggest opportunities for growth? What do we need to do to leverage those opportunities? And if you were me, what would you focus your attention on? It was the answers and insights to those questions that all the 850 staff got the opportunity to answer, the board members, my leadership team. It was the answer and the insights to those questions that led to the transformation that led to the results that I just shared with you. And so that's been great to be a part of that. One of the main things I did initially was put together my top team. So I did make lots of changes there. I brought 2 people from the county, the chief financial officer I had at Department of Health and Human Services, Randy Olzak, and also Michelle Naples, who was my chief integration officer at the county. I brought them over with me. When I brought the first one, Hector Colon, the chief of staff at the county, said, "Hey, don't start taking everybody." And then I bring in Randy Olzak next, and then County Executive Chris Abley called me and said, "Hey, Hector, come on, man, mix it up. I need good people too." So we did stop there, but brought in great people, made really tough decisions. We divested of over $6 million worth of programs. It's hard for nonprofits to do that. We love people. We want to serve people. We don't want to stop doing things. But we also grew strategically by over $6 million. And as a result of these efforts, we served 2,000 more individuals last year compared to the year before I got here. So we made good decisions there. We're actually serving more people, but we got out of some programs that just weren't viable for us. And but those were not easy. We did a lot of renegotiation of our contracts with city and county and state that allowed us to get more favorable contracts. So lots of change. We collapsed 5 divisions to 3. So really made lots of great changes to position ourselves for better success.
So Hector, you are talking to your GMC peers. What is the thing that they need to know in this moment, or what's the thing that you would like for them to know or do to support the important efforts that you're running, as well as just navigating this crisis?
Thank you very much. First, I want to let all the GMC members know that we are here for them. We care about you. We want to serve you, and we want to help you. And maybe some of you are experiencing challenges you weren't experiencing before this crisis. So please always look us up and see if there's any ways in which we can serve and help you. Ways in which GMC could maybe help us. One example would be with the stimulus package. So nonprofits such as ours, because of our size, are not eligible, because we have more than 500 employees. We have over 800 employees today, and so that makes us ineligible, but we need that help. We need that help just like any other nonprofits. We have no margin. We don't have substantial reserves to help us deal with situations like this. So we would ask for GMC members to advocate for this forced stimulus package that increased the number of employees to 1,000, so that nonprofits such as ours can benefit from that stimulus package, because as of today, we do not benefit. And other organizations, thank God, are benefiting, and it's going to bring, in some cases, millions of dollars of support that they desperately need to continue to provide the life-saving services that they provide. So that's one big thing I would ask GMC members to collectively advocate and reach out to their congressmen, their legislatures to regarding the stimulus package. Another thing I would say is, if I know there are some donors within your network, and if they would allow more flexibility on funding right now more than ever to cover overhead or to cover expenses that were not anticipated as a result of this crisis, that would be one. But also, now more than ever, nonprofits need your support, including LSS, to continue to survive in the midst of these significant challenges that we're facing today.
Thank you for sharing that. So as we wrap up our conversation, I'm going to ask you to share something that you've already done today, which is, you said you wake up and you practice gratitude, and so you reflect on things for which you're grateful. I'm going to ask you to close our conversation with a moment of gratitude. What are you grateful for?
So grateful that I could wake up this morning and know that I have a loving wife and 2 loving children, a loving family. I'm so grateful that I can come to this wonderful organization that has the history and legacy of serving those most in need, and has done so with high quality, and that I could be part of this wonderful organization to move us forward so that we can continue our life-sustaining services over the next century. And I'm grateful to all the friends that I have, and I'm very appreciative of that. I love them very much, and I'm very thankful for all those things and more.
Hector, I am grateful to you for making some time to talk to me this morning. And I'm grateful for the incredible and wonderful work that you are doing at LLS. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, hopefully face to face.
Okay, and thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for this call, by the way. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate being a member of the GMC, and thank you for all the great work that you're doing around the city to make it better.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.